and welcome to another bookish video from me, Johanna, me, my dog and books. Today it is time for my September reading wrap up, which is some of these books and a few others that aren't here because I've either returned them to the library, had them in Kindle, or they were an audio, so I don't have the physical version. In addition to my reading wrap up, which I'll give you my usual stats. Also, let me know in the comments, are my stats like of interest? If not, I'll ditch it, but I find it quite geeky to look at the stats. In addition, sorry, I'm easily distracted. I am doing the final bits of Halloween decorating. Now we're officially in I'm recording this on the 1st of October, so this will go up tomorrow. I've got a couple of my witchy things. There's my witchy legs. This wee hairband that I can wear. Yay! I think I had that in the book. But I have brought some of the stuff down from the attic. So I thought I'll share that with you. It's a bit of a dull day today. I'm off work. I don't go back till Thursday. And then my next annual leave is Halloween. I've taken Thursday. Is it Thursday the 31st this year? Last few years I've taken Halloween off just so I can indulge in the Halloweenness because I love it so much. Anywho's, I also have a couple of books that I picked up from the library this morning because I was going to use their printers, and yeah, let's get into it. So to digress from my September wrap up, get the pumpkins up. Look, this is what I was trying to show you in my book trolley. I've put my netting over my lamp, but don't worry, it's a covered lamp so it doesn't. That there is Alice, the corpse bride. She normally sits at her table come Halloween. Let's see, there's nothing there. Let's see. Then, I'll turn you. Oh, so I've got the Halloween tree. It's a Ray Bradbury story. It's actually narrated by Ray Bradbury. Got that on the telly while I'm doing that. This wee guy here, got him last year. Look, he talks for ages though. Take some candy and maybe you'll survive. Tonight is the night I come to life. I'm not really sure what Patty or Lucy think of it. Nothing, to be honest. I mean, it goes on for ages. Care Bear's got his witch's hat on, so yeah, I'm just going through all this stuff. Slight intermission for the Halloween decorating. I now just need to hoover and put the washing on. And I was about to put the washing on when I remembered, oh no, I need to record the rest of this. You don't want the washing machine in the background. But grab yourself a little, look, got this from Asda. I think in the US, well, it's Asda here is owned by Walmart, so you might be able to get there. It's only £4. Got a nice glass of sparkling water. Hold on, I'll show you who sits at our table. Well, I have just shown you, but this is my view. It's a bit creepy, isn't it? Hi, Alice. Don't ask me why. I think it was the blonde hair that kind of gave me the Alice in Wonderland, even though that's not her colour hair in the book. It's the Disney movie. But anywho's, she's just sitting there. She'll keep me company now until All Hallows Eve. Anywho's, back to, what's the word? The order of the day. My reading wrap up. I have my trusty laptop with me so that I can give you the latest stats from my story graph. So according to my stats, I've read 13 books in September, which seems to be what I'm averaging at the moment. My moods. Dark, mysterious, tense and emotional. That pretty much just describes me. And then my pace was mostly medium, but a bit fast. I'm not very good at slow paced books, generally. Page number, oh go me, that's maybe why it's taking me longer to read. 92% of my books being between 300 and 499 pages. And I've gone 0% non-fiction. I might need to change that in November. Is November non-fiction November? Can't remember. All of that rhymed. And then genres, mostly thriller, horror, mystery, young adult, sci-fi, a bit of sci-fi in there. I think that might be Hellsans. And then 8 other, I can't figure out what. My formats were, over half were in print. When I say digital, that's normally my Kindle, and then the rest are audio. And my average star rating was 3.52, which is not too shabby. There were a couple of 2.5s. So let's get into it in no particular order. I normally do this, and please do put some suggestions in the comments if you prefer me to do it in a different way, like worst to best or whatever. But I'm just going to dive in, and apologies if I keep looking down here, because I have the memory of whatever the fish is called in Finding Nemo. Dory? Yeah. Okay, so I can barely remember, and hopefully this is all, but it must be all 13. And one of them I can't find what I did with it. Oh no, there they are there. Add them to the list, add them to the list. Right, first up is Mother-Daughter Murder Night. Now, I listened to, did I start this in audio? I think I did. I have no idea where I got it from. I think it must have been on free on one of my audio subscriptions. And the title just sold me. Well, I'm not going to spend much time on this other than it's not how it's marketed or described. I was bored. I gave it 2 stars. I'm not even going to spend any time on it because I don't recommend it. Then I did a reread of a Stephen King book, and I normally do one Stephen King book a month and do like a read along on my Instagram. This was the last one I've done, and only because, not like forever, but just so that for the next month or so I can just read what I want to read after I've read some of the books for book tours or arcs that I've done. Anywho, this was a reread. First read it about over 2 decades ago easily, and wow. This is a book about an author. Yay, so it's a book about books. You have, now I don't remember the characters, Thad Beaumont, who writes under the pseudonym, who wrote a load of books and then decided to write under the pseudonym George Stark so he could write a slightly different genre. Then he decided he wanted to get rid of his pseudonym, so he did like a PR stunt with his wife, which was a gravestone sort of PR stunt that said George Stark, not a very nice guy. And then it turns out that George Stark, his pseudonym, ain't too happy about being killed off. So weird, brutal stuff goes down. Yes, it's his pseudonym, so how could this be? Who knows? You have to read it to find out. 4 stars, dark, tense horror thriller. Still a fave. I'm not sure I'd ever want, well, maybe there's probably been adaptations, I'm not sure. Check how young Stephen King looks in the back of that. This must be an 80s cover. Is it an 80s? Yeah. This one's 89. Kind of looks it. So adored, recommend. Then I'm listening to this on audio through, I think it was Liberal FM. So we came to welcome you. It had absolute sort of Get Out, Stepford Wife vibes. A really nice diverse cast, really well narrated. I would say, however, it had great creepy, eerie neighbourhood vibes, but it kind of felt way longer than it needed to be. Easily 100 pages could have been chopped off of that. And so because of that, I felt like the ending kind of fizzled out. So based on that, I gave it 3.75 out of 5, which is pretty decent. Then, from one of my horror subscription boxes, I read The Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud. It's a tiny little novella. Now, how do I describe this? Oh, it's from my abominable box. I gave this 4 stars because I thought it was pretty clever. But I'll read you the kind of my review synopsis. Hopefully I edit some of this waffling out. So it's set in 1923 and Veronica arrives at Barrowfield home for treatment of melancholy on the moon. The moon makes it like, the moon being the place makes it like kind of sci-fi, but it's kind of like a by the by. You kind of forget that you're on the moon. Anywho's, where there's a Dr. Barrington Cull. He uses spider silk from spiders that had been found on this moon, hence why they're on the moon, but uses them for invasive treatments to treat melancholy, apparently. But despite the spider being long dead, its influence lingers and Veronica may be the centre of ensuing problems. That's all you need to know. Don't read too much going in. I would say it packs an absolute punch at only 111 pages. Like I said, don't read any more, other than if you're terrified of spiders, can't read about spiders, can't watch spiders, do not read this. I was a bit nervous going in initially because it is obviously kind of fantastical, and fantasy isn't a go-to genre, but I really liked this. I thought it was very accessible. There is obviously a mythical connection between the moon and lunacy, of course, so hence the kind of lunar vibes. Veronica is a great character, quite relatable vibes about her mental health and being validated or believed by mostly men in power in respect to her health. Has very good commentary of 1920s mental illness, which isn't very good. It gave me Frankenstein vibes. It's very eerie and mysterious. It's part of a trilogy, and I don't think the next instalment is till next year. I recommend. It was The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I don't think I knew that was who it was by. All my books are falling over. So I read this as part of Lauren the Books book club. We had the book club on Sunday there. So I think overall, I mean, how cute is this edition? I got this second hand. Overall, solid 3 stars. I think my recollection of The Secret Garden from my childhood and then watching the TV show was very much based on the garden itself and the 2 characters. One of them is a wheelchair user. So that character is quite a bit of ableism in this because of when it was written, which isn't ideal. They're also like, I had totally forgotten about the story where how could I forget the main character's name? Mary? Yeah, Mary, who comes from India. So she was English, initially raised in India, like they had servants and stuff, but all the reference to India and the colonialism irked a lot. So it didn't really pass the test of time for its place, and I think that could be rectified with perhaps some like setting content information around the racism and ableism that's in here. But with that in mind, it was still the garden elements and all of that, and the healing of the garden and all of that I really quite enjoyed. Then I was doing a reread. I'll do these two together. I did Clown in Cornfield 1 and Clown in Cornfield 2, Frendo Lives by Adam Cesare. These are fun, young adult slashers I would recommend. They're clever though, so unlike like maybe other books in the horror genre that play in a lot of horror movie reference in slasher movies, this one doesn't assume any prior horror movie knowledge. So I would say these are good entry level for people that want to explore horror. That doesn't mean to say it's horror light. Adam Cesare writes really good young people young characters in this. They aren't like he writes the story and the characters in a way that makes it not only super accessible to young adults but adults as well. This is such a fun read. You follow Quentin and her dad who moved to Kettle Spring following the death of her mother. He takes up a new job. You've got small time vibes, hence the cornfields. They used to have a massive corn syrup factory, and their mascot was a clown called Frendo. And we're got the juxtaposition of the old town people and the old traditions versus the newer young generation who are like enjoying YouTube and and there's like they're button heads quite a lot, and that's where, let's say, a full-on clown mascot massacre starts to occur, in that people are dying in the old versus new generation, and it gets even wilder in book 2. Highly recommend these. The reason I reread these was because book 3 came out and I'm going to read that this month. And thanks to HarperCollins, I got an advance copy of Honeybee by Donald Porter, which came out on the 26th of September. And I gave this a solid 4 stars. This was a fun, joyful read about 2 friends who grew up together on Guernsey, in the Channel Islands, I think it's Guernsey. You follow Flo and Renee. They've both gone to uni, then kind of left Guernsey, came back. Flo is kind of trying to find her way, what she wants to do. She's not quite sure. Renee is like, I want to become a writer, I need to go to London. So in the interim, they're working contempt jobs at a marketing agency. They're also flat sharing, so they're quite intense, and you just follow their struggle to adult in their early 20s. They've got their nights out with co-workers. They get too drunk. Flo does seem to have a issue with alcohol, and Renee is trying to understand find her place in the world, and starts having an affair with like her boss. And I got loads of stuff, but so overall it's trying to describe, it's done with such humour and relatability. So obviously a lot of that is like, that was that nostalgia for that time in your life where you're trying to figure out who you are and where you belong, and then you're going out and you're maybe getting drunk and you're like just trying to figure out who you are, and who your wing women or wing pals or wing people are. And that's where it's lovely to see Flo and Renee's relationship develop together, and how they deal with their own issues with their family relationships, with alcohol, with their mental health. It was, despite the tough topics, it is really well executed, and I just adored spending time with these characters. It's already out now. The finished cover looks even better than this, and I'm going to see the author Donald Porter at Waterstones in the middle of this month, so I'll probably buy a finished copy to support the author, and then get this signed as well. Then I read, it's quite an eclectic mix this month, The Bordeaux Book Club by Gillian Harvey, Who knew? But like Gillian Harvey has written like about 9 books, all of a similar vein. I wonder, I'm sure there was a picture of them at the back. No, it was maybe when I looked it up online. Never heard of this author before. Sometimes that's quite nice what happens when I'm in my book group, my in-person book group. We've been going for 20 years this year, and I can't remember. I think it was, it was one of our friends that picked this. She was going on holiday, not to Bordeaux, but after me having picked Betty, I think everybody was looking for a lighter read, which this definitely is. You follow Leah and her husband who moved to France. I think they're hoping to set up like what the good life, as in growing their own vegetables, all of that, finding a new community. And that kind of goes to plan until they realise that's way more hard work. And then Lee joins a book club with a collection of people who wouldn't ordinarily be friends, and they're described as misfits. It's light, it's fluffy. You start to learn about each member of the book club. Some of them are kind of, is it Grace who starts, she's a bit prickly at the start, and then you've got, and I'm describing it, buttoned up Monica, who says her husband is away and appears to be parenting her baby alone. You've got handsome builder George, who's barely read a book before, and Alfie, who's full 2 decades younger than everyone else and is hiding a devastating secret. So they all have their own challenges and woes in their life, and you kind of jump into them. It's a bit cheesy. It's not normally my kind of read if you're looking for, but it's about a book club, and if you're in a book club and you're in an online book community, you know what that community can bring you. So a 2.5, 3, but I read it for book group. It was a light read. Wouldn't normally pick it up, but I'm sure this would be really of interest to many people. Then I read, and I don't have it because I returned it to Waterstones, What a Way to Go by Bella Mackie. I got it on Kindle originally because I requested it as an e-arc on NetGalley because I really liked How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie, and this started out really, really good. I'm going to read the kind of synopsis. One status-obsessed woman who is a perfect accessory. There are 4 inheritance-obsessed children, each with a killer instinct, and a murder-obsessed outsider looking to expose them all. So you kind of start the story where the main character, can't remember his name now, I should because he had his own POV. You pretty much start at his big 60th, opulent 60th birthday party, and then he dies. And then he becomes kind of stuck in the, what do they call that, in limbo, like, because he's died and he's like, how did I die? And he isn't going to be at peace until they figure out how he died or who killed him, because the understanding is that it's not an accident at his birthday. His wife and his kids are more, I think, interested in what it means for them and their status. And then you have internet sleuthers who decide that, you know, because internet sleuthing is a big thing nowadays and they want to get the subscriber numbers up, they decide they're going to like determine who did said issue with the main, like did the murder of the main character, whose name I still can't remember and I can't be bothered looking it up. I love how Bella writes characters, and she does write a good story, and she wrote these very dislikable characters in a very good way. Like, I didn't like any of them, even the sleuther. I would say I was utterly gripped for the first half. If you've watched any of my reading vlogs in September when I started to read it, I was like sold. I was convinced it was going to be a 4-star easily. But by about halfway through, I was just like, okay, enough of the rich people drama, enough of, like, I'm now just getting really annoyed. The pace dive bombed. My interest just waned, like really waned. It was a fun concept, and the characters were kind of fun until I got completely disinterested and bored of the rich people drama, which I can sometimes really enjoy, but nah. And so yeah, just wanted it to end and I didn't really care what happened. So I returned it to Waterstones because I got it on e-arc and then I'd pre-ordered it because I was so convinced I was going to love it, but I didn't. Then I finally read my first Simone St. James, and it was The Sundown Motel. Oh, this was so good. This was so good. Hold on, I'll read you what I'd written as my synopsis. The Sunderland Motel by Simone St. James is a suspenseful and atmospheric novel that intertwines two timelines. You have like 1982 with Viv and 2017, I think, is the next one with Carly. Viv Delaney in 82 takes a job as a night clerk in the Sundown Motel, and to save money for her move to New York. However, she soon realises that Motel harbours dark secrets and becomes determined to uncover them. Then we zoom to 2017 and realise Viv has been missing since then, and Viv is Carly's aunt, and she's desperate to find out the truth. So she goes back to the motel to investigate. She takes up the job at the same motel and finds herself trapped in the same eerie mysteries that once captivated her aunt. This is haunted motel vibes, definite serial killer murder vibes. It straight away it grabbed me because the book jumps between Viv's POV and Carly's POV, and you're jumping between the timelines. It's pretty early on that you discover that Viv has been missing, and it's 35 years later, still nobody knows what happened to her. I love the dual timelines, the dual POVs. I love the pacing, it was so on point. The character development, it's great. The suspense is exactly what I was looking for. And the ghostly missing woman arc, I think, is brilliantly written and genuinely creepy, and I can't wait to read more from this author. So yeah, solid 4 stars. Then thanks to you wonderful people out there. Tell me in the comments. I know you've told me and I forgot, because when I got out of the library I was like, someone recommended Ever Dundas to me. Who? I did not realise until I googled them is a Scottish author. She's a queer author who's also disabled and does a lot of great sort of queer disability rep and advocacy. Wow, this is good. Oh, so I'll take my bookmark out before I give it. This was good. Now, sci-fi is not my go-to genre at all. However, this had dystopian elements. So you've got Hellsans. I'm reading the synopsis that I'd written. Is about a government-controlled typeface that induces bliss in most people, but causes agony and an allergy in others. And so seeing any of that typeface causes absolute pain until the point it kills them. The story follows two main POVs. You've got Jane Ward, who's the CEO of the company, who develops a lot of technology where people have these NXs, which is kind of like, if you've ever read Northern Lights, where they have, what do you call them? Someone tell me in the comments, because I can't remember. It's going, the animals, like someone like a spirit animal, but it's not. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, everybody has these little robot NXs which kind of process a lot of data about you. If you're dehydrated, it tells you to drink. It's kind of like a Fitbit machine on steroids. Anywho's, the CEO of the said company becomes allergic to the typeface and suddenly starts to fall from grace because she becomes what they call deviant, which is everybody, HSAs as they call them, anyone that's allergic to said typeface, and they are utterly othered. Then you've got Dr. Icho Smith, who has a cure but is pursued by the government and a terrorist group because the government don't want a cure for allergies to the typeface. First book by this author, won't be my last. I'm definitely going to check out Goblin, which I had got out from the library, but I had to return it before I read it because it was due. I think there was a waiting list for it. Excuse me. But I loved the concept. It was totally dystopian, and I loved the idea that the government developed a typeface to control their population's mindset. It feels so realistic and like poses a lot of ethical questions, both about that government control but also these machines that, like little robots that everybody has, and especially with the world right now, just the power and control that a lot of governments can have and influence. I love the fact the story was told in 2 parts. So you've got part 1, which is Icho's story, and then you've got, oh, if I find it, part 2, which is Jane's story, right? And then you've got part 3, which I actually don't know what part 3 is called. Part 3, bear with, I'll not find it, I'll go right past it. Hellsans is part 3, right? So the author says at the start, you can read part 1 and 2 either as part 1 then 2, or part 2 then 1, and then jump into part 3. So clever. I did it 1, 2 then 3, but I could absolutely see how you could do it the other way, and then both part 1 and 2 come together before you enter into part 3. So clever. I've never read a book that does that. It's so unique. The main characters, Jane and Icho, are so well developed. They're very complex characters. There's great LGBTQ plus rep. Overall, unique, dystopian, and it left me feeling chilled to the bone. So it's a standalone, so there isn't a follow up to that. And the next one I listened to on audio, and it's called What Happened to Nina by Dervla McTiernan. I've never read a Dervla McTiernan book before. This one was my first one. Boy, oh boy, it won't be last. This is a 4. I don't think I had any 5-star reads this month. No, this is one of my highest. 4.5 stars. Whoo! Firstly, right, audio production, narrator's great. The whole production, great cast of narrators, and the overall delivery of the book on audio is top tier. The premise is you have Nina, who goes on a weekend break with her boyfriend, long-term boyfriend, to his parents' holiday home, but only her boyfriend Simon comes back and nobody knows where Nina is, and she's kind of gone missing. You start the book with Nina's POV pretty quickly. You get an idea of her and Simon's relationship, because do you get a bit of Simon's POV I think as well. Then pretty quickly when you learn that Simon's came back, where's Nina? Her parents, then you jump into her parents, Nina's parents POV, and then you jump to Simon, the boyfriend's parents POV, and pretty quickly you start to, it reads like a true crime, I'm jumping about, but it reads like a true crime story. The way it's written, it is so well done. It's not based, well, I did some research because a few people when I was reading it and I'd kind of posted about it on either Instagram or TikTok were saying, oh, is this based in this particular case? According to what I've found online and by the author, it's not based on one particular case, but a kind of collection of cases that are quite similar. You'll understand why when you read the book and you realise how this all plays out. I loved all the multiple POVs because it really got you to see, like, when people, you think you have perceptions of people's relationships and what they're like, and then the reality or the reality of through other people's eyes. You have a really good bit of commentary about what happens in said cases, especially online, as people make assumptions about the parents on either side, the boyfriend, what happened to Nina, all that internet sleuthing, what that does to people, what that does to the case when they're trying to figure out what happened to Nina and where she is. So cleverly done. It was tense the entire time. I didn't guess any of the endings or what was happening, and it was so well done. And actually see that ending, chef's kisses, just perfectly done. I'm not even sure why I didn't give it 5 stars, because in my head I'm kind of like, that's possibly 5 stars. So highly recommend. It was really, really good. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books that I read in September. I wonder how many I can get through in October, because currently my October spooky season TBR is looking at about 200 odd. So if my work could just give me paid leave for the whole entire month of October just to read, that would be smashing. Anyways, that was my wrap up. I was at the library today, so I thought I'd show you 2 books that I got from the library. I got Brooklyn. How old does this cover look? Is it a large print? Oh yes, it's a large print one. Awesome. I love large print. I was like, this looks like a really old copy. When's it from? 2009. Not that old, but it looks like a weird cover. So going to read that before I read the book Long Island. I think came in my library, and I got this out from the library, returned it because I never got time to read it, so I got it back out again because I've seen it do the rounds on TikTok. It's a really good, blooming brilliant thriller, and it's The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard, and it says, stranded on a dark road in the middle of the night. That is my absolute ultimate nightmare. Like if my car broke down, if I had a car. Oh! Although, news alert, we have a date for its arrival, which is the 10th of October. And if that comes true, I'm definitely going pumpkin picking on the 13th. Anywho's, sidetracked. Stranded in the middle of the night, a young woman accepts a lift from a passing stranger. It's a nightmare scenario that every girl is warned about, and she knows the dangers all too well. But what other choices does she have? As they drive, she alternates. This is giving me Survive the Night vibes by Riley Sager, which I adored. As they drive, she alternates between fear and relief, and one moment thinking he's a good man doing good thing, and the next convinced he's a monster. But when he delivers her safety to her destination, she realises her fears were unfounded, and her heart sinks, because a monster is what she's looking for. What? Yeah, having that. Anyway, friends, that's what I've picked up. I think I'm going to be keeping Brooklyn and Long Island till November because it doesn't fit with my spooky vibes. But I wanted to just say special note to one of my beautiful subscribers and follows me on Instagram, sent me a bit of artwork. So this is Paula Martin. I don't know what if you got a note of. It's just, she asked me if she could send me something because she likes my content. It's so nice. I'll read you your note. She says, Johanna, thank you for being the most wonderful and generous human out there. It's not true, but they're probably more generous than me, but thank you. I adore both you and your content and hope this print can in some small way be a gift back to you. Love and light, Paula. And wait to, I mean, how beautiful. You can tell she's an artiste. I don't really want to. It only came in the post today, so that was perfect timing for recording this. It's so good. Oh my god, it's amazing. So I'll put a link, Paula, if you want, to your Instagram on my description so you can follow. She's a portrait and illustration artist. This is so good. All Hallows Eve, and it's done in ink and pencil. Sign print of an original drawing. And there's a certificate of authenticity at the back. And wait till you see this. It is utterly stunning. How beautiful is that? It's so stunning. I'll lift that up so you can even see the mushrooms. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And I've got a little sticky, like a smaller version. So I'm going to get these both framed. So what I'm going to do actually is, this is about A4, I think. What I tend to like to do with my prints is keep an eye out in the charity shops for frames. And this I could do in a kind of small picture frame, so I could have two in two different rooms, but utterly stunning. And that is the most generous gift ever. Thank you so much. I don't really deserve it, but I'm over the moon. So once I get this framed, I'm going to keep it and get it framed. Well, frame it myself. Hopefully I don't do a bad job. I just need to find one, so I'll take it with me. Or can I measure it and then keep an eye out in the charity shop? Because you know I love a charity shop haul. Like, it's the only shops I really go to apart from food shops when I have to. So thankful. Thank you so much. That was so kind. And please do go out, go into the link in the description and check out Paula's Instagram. Some of her drawings are amazing. I've seen that she's done like portraits but of people, as well as like, I think I've seen some pet ones as well. Thank you. So kind, so kind. I'm so glad I've made this channel and create content for you guys and just have a good chat about books and what I've been reading and what I'm up to. And before I go, talking of art, which my creativity does not compare to this, but wait till you see. Excuse the mess in the house because I'm about to hoover. I haven't done it yet. and I was decorating. Do you want to see my cross stitch progress? Like, I shouldn't even be doing this in the same video of actual art. But this is as crafty, as creative as I get. But wait to see. Ta-da! So, you've seen this one before. I've now completed this. I just need to do the shelf along here. And there's some of these bits, and then there's one final shelf at the top before I can start doing my haunted house one. But yes, I have been doing it. I've been doing it while, what was I watching last night? 11/22/63 I was watching last night, which I finally decided was, well, the OH had discovered it without me saying anything. Is that, oh, this thing's by Stephen King. I was like, one of my favourite Stephen King books. I've not watched the adaptation yet, even though it's about a big gazillion years old. So we started watching it together and watched the first episode last night. It's got James Franco and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was in The Muppets, that new one that came out. He does maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh. You'd be better off Googling it to see who's in it rather than try to guess from that really bad impression. Anywho's, that's the latest for me. A bit of mostly my wrap up, some amazing art, some baby art, and the Halloweenification of my home, which I tried to capture, but you know, the washing's mid-done, the hoovering needs to get done. I haven't changed my beds and there's loads of dishes, still don't have a dishwasher. But yes, let me know if you enjoyed watching this, and if you did, send me a mushroom emoji. Just if you got this far, to be honest. And what was I going to say? Oh, and after this video, if you're watching it in chronological order, you'll see my weekend reading vlog, which is me, the OH and the kids in Ardrishaig, which is past Loch Gilphead in the very west coast peninsulas of Scotland, which of course involves a lot of bookish stuff as well, and some very Scottish scenery, which hopefully some of you enjoy. So until next time, I was about to say, and so until next time, sleep well, don't have nightmares. That was like what they used to say at the end of Crime Watch, which was a UK show where they like used to do like, don't know if it's like what in America is it Dateline, or where they like, you would say, here's all these open cases, if you can give us any information, dial this number, yada yada. I have no idea where that popped in my head, probably because I'm sitting staring at a skeleton corpse bride. Anyways, for now and until next time, thank you for watching, for liking, and if you subscribe, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, and I love it. I love when you chat to me in the comments. Let me know what you've been reading in September. Have you read any books that I've read? Have you had any favourites? Have you had any let me know, and until then, I will see you again soon.